Hello. Yeah, this is just a short talk about some unexpected features I found in cloud stuff. Yeah, there's nothing groundbreaking there, but there are some amusing things I found, so I wanted to share. Yeah, just before we start, a word about me. I'm Crunch on Freenode. You can find me on Sugar. I'm usually more into kernel and debuggers and stuff, but yeah, sometimes I like to play with web services as well. Yeah, I'm related to Richard Stallman or Captain Crunch, if you ask. I had that question before, so just so you know. Yeah, the usual question is, what do you do? And actually, I just cycle around at the moment. That's what I've been doing since March. You cannot really see it, but I went from London to Berlin and then Nuremberg, and now I've been cycling to here. Yeah, so that's what I do at the moment. But anyway, this is not about me. This is about some stuff that, well, like a lot of things, it starts on the IRC channel some time ago. There were friends using some cloud service where they could upload files and share it. So someone pasted a URL and was saying, oh yeah, at my company we have that game, we call that Cloud Roulette, where you just change the URL and try to find interesting stuff. It's like, and I look at the URL and I see, that's not, no, I mean, should be easy to brute force, no? I mean, that's like less than 15 million possibilities. Oh, yeah. What do you do with that? Well, so the service is actually so yeah, you can just upload files, and it gives you a URL back in that form, and the blob part is just 1 to 4 characters, and yeah. And that's not random at all. It's just a counter, but it's just not in decimal. So yeah, it looks random if you don't know what random is, but it's not random at all. So, you know. So what do you do with that? Well, the first thing was just to, the idea was really just to try to index everything they have. So yeah, I wrote some like less than a few tens of lines of pr0n and bash, and I got the thing indexed in like 48 hours or something. Yeah, and yeah, I blame my friend for it with the user agent. So. Yeah, so the technical details of the script is just I just used the math-based calc Perl module, so I didn't even have to figure out how to count in that strange base with numbers. Just use that. I just find the last value where there's no more files after that, and then I split that address space in manageable chunks, and I just spawn 100 worker threads that just go and check for every file, perform a HTTP add request, and yeah, and each of these worker threads would print out yeah, information about each of the URLs. So the information I collected is detailed here. So you have the first part, which is just the blob part of the URL, the time it's been retrieved, the HTTP response code. 200 means, yeah, the file exists, it's fine. The end time is the last modified bit of the HTTP header, so that's presumably when the file has been uploaded. There is also hit or miss cache information in the response the server was sending. So I kept that, and we'll see later how it can be interesting. The size of the file and obviously the name of the file. So that's just 2 examples. The first file you could retrieve at that address, for example. Pretty simple stuff. Yeah. So yeah, once I get that big file, I just wanted to try to see what I could get out of that. So yeah, I indexed everything from 0 to 1, and you see that's like yeah, less than 250,000 of addresses, and less than half of that there was actual files available there. So that breaks down into this is a logarithmic scale. That's the HTTP response code for each thing. And you see about alpha fit was 404, alpha fit was 200, and the rest was 500 and 400. I didn't really investigate that, but probably should have tried and see what these internal error things are for these files. So yeah, 500 is internal error for this on the server side. 403 is forbidden. That's could have been interested to dig into that. I don't even remember what 400 is. Yeah, nice graph again. So yeah, I looked also at the file extension, the last part of the file name, and that's linear scale again. And yeah, what I found is that most of the large majority of the files were just JPEG files, and when you look at them, it's mostly screenshots apparently. So apparently people use that service a lot for just uploading screenshots, I guess. And then, yeah, I was a bit disappointed. There are not many movies in there. So yeah, some music files, but not so much. Yeah, mostly screenshots in the term of number of files. But if you look in quantity of data on there, you see, yeah, there are about alpha terabytes of zip files. And that's the majority of the stuff. And I didn't actually index what's in the zip files, because I just looked at the metadata, not the actual content. But yeah, so yeah, in terms of quantity of data, you see it's not the screenshot. You cannot even see the JPEG files in there. They just form a very small amount of the data that's stored on that service. So yeah, I figured out if I wanted to make a presentation about this, I should publish some findings or something. So the first thing I realized is that yeah, you can actually figure out what's the next when the next person is going to upload something. You already know what URL it will be at. So you could have a script that just check that URL every second or something, and you know when a file has been uploaded, and so you can basically see the logs of the server in real time, pretty much, which is interesting, I find. Yeah, another finding is that yeah, you don't really want to look at the content of the files. So yeah, well, one of them was that's more like a funny one, but it's like yeah, it was a movie of people dressed up as dinosaurs having sex and speaking what sounded to me like German. So yeah, you can find all kind of stuff there. There were less pleasant stuff, and that's when I decided I want to just look at the metadata and not the actual content. Yeah, another finding. So whenever I perform the add request, the HTTP add request on the server, it says whether the file is in cache or not, and the add request itself doesn't change that status. So if the file is not in cache and you check on it, it will still not be in cache on the next time you check. So that can give you an indication of when someone accessed the file. So you could imagine, for example, you upload a file and you send the link to someone, and then you know when he is reading his email. So you just check when the status of the cache changes, which I find interesting as well. Another thing is that looking at the logs I the data I collected, I see that there were sequences of files that look the same. So you can see, for example, here someone uploaded like these 3 PDF files. You can see it's obviously the same person who did that. I mean, look at the timestamp and the name of the file. So there are things you could correlate files in a way that you could imagine someone uploading his CV and then uploading his sex tape just after that, and you could probably figure out who it was. Well, you can link the two files to the same person. So yeah, I would, because the URL looks random, I'm pretty sure some people rely on anonymity, relies on the service to anonymize things. And if they upload multiple files at once, and one of them, they don't want to be linked to each other, that won't work. Yeah, I don't know if that's clear. Another finding is that I found I was disappointed to find that there was not so much porn in that. Yeah, 250,000 files, and no, it was about 100,000 files, and less than 400 that had names that sounded promising. But yeah, most of the porn there was pretty much not professional. So I don't know if it was the actual users uploading it, but yeah, if you're into amateur stuff, I'm sure you can find something there for you. Yeah. After I did this, like a few weeks later, the people running the service realized there was a problem, I guess, because they changed how it worked. Now the blob part of the URL is actually a relatively long random string, and I know some people working there, not in that team, but well, and apparently they talked between them, and apparently the blob part is really random now, so you cannot really index things as easily anymore. So that's a good thing, I guess. And the reason they did that apparently is because they were worried about people relying on the anonymization of the service, which we saw earlier doesn't really work if you upload multiple files at once. Yeah, well, that's about it. Any questions or discussion about this?
Questions?
So the name of the service, I will only reveal that under extreme drunkenness. And yeah, it's still very early, so I'm not drinking that much yet. Why am I cycling so much? I don't know, it sounded like a good idea when I started. And yeah, I like it. Did I notify the service? Actually, no, I didn't notify the service. I'm a bad person. I just, yeah. No, I talked with friends with it, and I know the friend who works there didn't even notify them either, so I don't know if they noticed what I did in the logs, or if someone else did it and notified them, or if they just noticed it internally. But no, I didn't notify them.
More questions? Please give the speaker there's another question.
When you upload a file, do they give you a cache hit or miss notification also if they already have a copy of that file?
So okay, I'm not sure. I don't remember if when you upload a file it gets in cache or not. But if it is already in cache, you could probably just make many requests for other files and evict it from the cache.
Does the upload protocol involve sending a hash of the file before sending the file?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I've never actually used the service to upload files. I just index it.
Please give the speaker a well-deserved round of applause.